I'm honored with this introduction. Thank you very much. So let's get started. Um, I want to start with a quote, and that is the quote from Charles Darwin. And it says, "It's not the strongest of species that survive. It's not the most intelligent that survives. It's the one that's most adaptable to change." And the reason why I say that is because a quote from me. The change is good, the change is inevitable, and the change is now. We really see the world changing, and we see it changing faster than we've seen before. And we did an investigation with our customers, and we investigated, we requested about 1,600 executives across the globe. We asked them for feedback, and they basically gave us feedback and said, you know what, everyone is worried. Everyone is worried about going back into the office. The top concern is around going into an office and touching things that you're not sure if they've been properly cleaned. Will everyone stay social distant? We've heard that out of half of everyone that was surveyed, they expect that they're going to work more than 8 days each month from home. And everyone has given the feedback that they've been unsatisfied with video meetings and the tools available. Choppy sound, dropped connections, slow connections, page doesn't refresh. Sounds familiar? I'm pretty sure it sounds familiar. So, some feedback from the Fortune 500 CEOs. And you can find this in the Fortune 500 magazine from June 2020. Not everyone will return to the usual workspace. Remote work is here to stay because it's finally proven that it actually works. As an example, for myself, I've been working from home for the past 15 years. And 1.5 years ago, on a Wednesday afternoon, you would come into my house. My son had a play date with a friend. His parents would pick up the friend. My son was 8 years old at the days. Would pick up the friend and walks into the room and says, "Hey, are you off today?" And I'll be sitting behind my desk. I'm like, "No, I'm working." And they're like, "Oh no, but you're at home. I thought you would be off." A big difference now is that everyone's been working from home, and everyone understands that when you're working from home, you actually work. And also your boss understands that you actually do some work. So in my opinion, and my thought is that when the world will go back to normal, the remote work is here to stay. So that is part of the new normal. We will also see business travel may never return to the pre-pandemic levels. For your information, in my role, for the past 15 years, I've been traveling every week. Out of every month, I was 1 week in home. The other 3 weeks, I was traveling across the globe. I haven't traveled since March, and that was new to me and everyone in the family, so we had to adjust. But actually, I love it. And I don't want to go back to the way of traveling that I was in the past. Yes, I would love to go travel again, but occasionally I want to do it 1 week in a month instead of 1 week in home. And a lot of people think like that. We've seen technological transformation being accelerated. We've seen things that took 10 years in the past happen now in 2 months. And we see the capital spending will only increase in 2020 or beyond, and it's challenged in the short term. So the CEOs in the Fortune 500 said, in the 2020s, we will not spend so much. It's going to be 2021 at the earliest that we're going to start spending again. So the world has changed for sure. But I want to give you this quote as well. In a digital world, it's all about the experience. Experience is the new currency. And if experience is the new currency, the time to value is the metric. Okay? The experience that you face today in the world of working from home is so important because the interactions that you have with your customer is also based on that same experience. And how fast can you deliver on that experience? That is key. So what we're going to talk about today, how the world has changed, how technology can help you with that, what is the opportunity, and what are the learnings? Those are the topics that I would like to discuss today. So the change. We've seen a huge, dramatic crisis before. I mean, it happened many times in the past. But in the recent past, we had 2008, 2009, 2010, we had a large economical crisis. And don't get me wrong, the situation where we are in now as the world is definitely heavy, it's impacting, there's huge economical impact. But the big difference that we have today compared to how it was in 2010 is that in 2010, the economy itself was sick. The economical crisis that we had in 2008, 2009, 2010 was because there was issues in the finance where mortgages were covering houses that didn't have enough value. And when the micro mortgages that would go into that lost their value and were trying to be sold to another company again, and then the bubble burst. The big difference where we are right now is the reason why there's an economical crisis is not because of the economy. It is because there has been lockdown, there's been changes, there's been a whole different way of working and living and learning, and all of that has an impact. And we, as employees, as customers, as students, as parents, we have to change. But the economy itself is there. The economy is healthy, and there's huge opportunities. And one document that I would like to recommend to you is by PricewaterhouseCoopers. And it's a framework called ADAPT, which is really about how can you take what's happening around you, like a SWOT analysis, and figure out, do we need to change our core business? Do we need to repair? Do we need to rethink, to refigure, or restart? The ADAPT framework is going to help you to understand my core business. Is it healthy? Can I do something with it? Can I change it? But what can I do to reach my customers? And I want to give some examples of customers that have rethought their business. So the first one that I would like to start with is Optibus. Optibus was a transportation organization in the UK. And they have real good drivers that know the ins and outs of London. But when the pandemic hit us, no one was traveling with the bus anymore. So they had really good drivers that know every ins and outs and all the most efficient routes through London and through the areas around London, but no one taking the bus anymore. So what they did, you've probably seen an increase on e-commerce the moment the pandemic hit us. Optibus reached out to the e-tailers and said, you know what? We have the best drivers that know every part of the UK. Bring your deliveries to us and my driver is going to deliver it for you. So they brought those two together. Another example, we have Jumia and Twiga Foods in Africa. They are two completely different companies that were not connected to each other. The one creating healthy food, the other being a delivery service. The healthy food, no one was going to go out anymore. No one's going to go to the market. At the same time, in the pandemic situation, everyone wants and needs healthy food. So they joined forces and they actually said, you know what? We are going to bring our healthy food now through this delivery service, and actually combine sources and actually take opportunity from the pandemic. Some more examples. These are all pictures where on the top top on the left, you see a gift that I got from my employer, Cisco. Cisco said, you know what? Moving forward, your office is going to be the desk that you're sitting behind right now. You're not going to go to the office in the near future. And so far today, all our offices are closed. We work from home. What my employer gave us in this package, you actually, there was a sweatpants, there was soft shoes, there was a little vacuum cleaner to clean your keyboard. Funny things to show that we understand that working from home is difficult, and we want to support you where we can. We've seen all companies across the globe starting doing delivery service. We've seen companies that normally you would go into the store starting to do curbside services. You could go onto their website, make an order, and drive up to the store, and they would actually deliver into your car. On the bottom left, you see my favorite restaurant. That was in the city where I used to live, called Goes in the Netherlands. And that is a restaurant where it's a good chef, and they never did any delivery services. But when the restaurants were closed, they started doing delivery services. So we've seen that ramping up. In the middle at the bottom, you see a hotel chain in the Netherlands, where the hotel chain, all of a sudden, they had no customers left coming to their hotel. What they did, they started to create a service where you could have a temporary office, because you see me right now in my home office, but a lot of our employees, a lot of our staff don't have the luxury of an office for themselves. So they couldn't go to the office, and they still had to do important work, important meetings, and they still want to participate and needed an area where they get focus. This hotel chain actually took the opportunity and said, you know what? We're going to give temporary office space. And they made a loyalty card where if you would book the room for, let's say, 5 days, you would get a discount. And if you would book the room for 20 days, you would get a huge discount. Do you need to take the room for 20 days in a row? No, it was a loyalty card where you could actually say, this week I'm taking 2 days, next week I'm taking 1, the week after I'm taking 3, and so on. And the aim wasn't for you to spend the night in the room, it was actually your home office. So they took the opportunity and actually make it back to growth. It is thinking about what is my service, what is my core business, and given the world where we are in right now, what can I do to change and bring this back to growth, bring this back to opportunity? We've seen that the pandemic accelerated key technology trends. What used to take a decade took 8 weeks. We've seen the e-commerce grow to 27% of retail in the United States in March and April from 6. And keep in mind that from 6% to 16% was 10 years, and we are now on 27% in 8 weeks. We've seen the cloud services grow. We've seen video conferencing platforms grow up to 30 times. I mean, I know that I'm the last person on earth that attended a Zoom call, but I've been spending my time on video calls all day, every day for the past 9 months. That's absolutely true. At the same time, cybersecurity is the top priority for everyone. I'm sorry that my dog is barking. Our chicken are walking out in the garden, and my dog wants to protect him. So sorry about that. So how can technology help you with that? This is a topic about Wi-Fi, and I'm going to bring to you Wi-Fi 6. And the first thing that people tell me, Wi-Fi 6. Wi-Fi 6 is all about faster connections, more speed. Do we need more speed now that everyone is working from home? Well, let me explain in more details what Wi-Fi 6 is all about. I'm sorry, but these are the topics that I'm going to cover. Okay, I'm going to talk about multi-user MIMO, OFDMA, 10,024 QAM, and TWT. And I promise you, it's not going to be technical. So you will be able to explain all of this in detail with your friends, and it's going to be a fun story. So let's zoom into multi-user MIMO first. Multi-user MIMO means multi-user, multiple in, multiple out. All right. It is Friday afternoon. Well, not for you, but for me it is. It's 10 to 7 in the evening on a Friday evening. So I'm going to take you to a bar. Let me first explain you how Wi-Fi works, and I'm doing this in a bar. We're looking at the technology that Wi-Fi works today. And this is not just Cisco, this is the way Wi-Fi works. Any brand, any wireless access point, they are doing what we call single user MIMO. What you see here is a wireless access point, the bartender, and you are the client. And what you see here is that the bartender is serving out one drink to one client. This is single user MIMO. This looks all good, but now let me give you the access point perspective, because you are not the only client in the room. This is actually the access point perspective. The access point sees a bunch of clients that all want to connect and they all want to be served. So the way Wi-Fi works is single user MIMO. There's one client that says to the access point, hey, I want to be served. And the access point says, okay, what can I get you? And then you say, I would like a nice glass of wine. Then the access point will say, okay, so that will be $4. And you pay for the $4 and you get your glass of wine. And the bartender says, is it a good wine? And you say, yes, it's a good wine. And then thank you. And then the access point can move on to the next client. That is the way Wi-Fi works today with single user MIMO. Now you can imagine what you're seeing here right now is 2, 4, 6, 7 clients. In reality, if you would be in a bar and there would be a lot of people around you, it's not 7 clients, it's 30 clients. And if you are number 25 on that list, you have to wait a very long time. So in the wireless industry, they thought of a technology called multi-user MIMO, which basically means that now an access point can serve out multiple clients at the same time. This is the technology that helps where they can serve out multiple clients at the same time, so you can actually improve the number of clients that you're serving. They took this to the next level in Wi-Fi 6. In Wi-Fi 6, they have OFDMA, which is orthogonal frequency division multiple access. Yes. This is a very good word for Scrabble, I know. Orthogonal frequency division multiple access. What does that mean? It means that you as an access point now can actually serve out 8 clients at the same time. Wow, that is a dramatic improvement of the number of clients. And you might think, but hold on, do we need this? Yes. If we think about the number of IoT devices that are now connecting to the network, we are adding 3 billion, that's with a B, ladies and gentlemen, 3 billion new devices to your network every year. Every year. And it's going to be 50 billion devices connecting to that network in the next 2 years. That's 50 and then billion with a B. And if you think about it, if you look at the number of clients that you're using right now for yourself, you might think, I only have my laptop and my phone. But you're in your home right now and you have a laptop and your phone. You probably have an iPad somewhere lying around in the office, in your house. And you might think, but I'm not using it right now. No, but it is talking to your network. It is talking to that bartender serving out. And when it's talking to your iPad that you're not even using at this moment, it cannot talk to you. And you might have an Apple Watch, and maybe you have a Fitbit, and your son or daughter has a Nintendo Switch or a PlayStation, and they have a phone, and you might have a network connected light system. You maybe have a camera. You have your Google Home device. You might have your Alexa. All of them are connecting to your network. And even if they are not talking right now, you might think, I'm not using it. They are talking to your access point. They are talking to that airtime. They are in your current situation with single user MIMO. They are talking to your infrastructure. Think about you being on a phone call right now, on a video call right now, and your partner is attending a WebEx, a Zoom, a Skype call as well. Your access point is already having some issues. And then your kid is doing Fortnite or watching TikTok videos. That is why you're having choppy sounds. That's why you're having issues. OFDMA is solving that problem. 1024 QAM. What does that mean? I'm going to take you to a game called darts. Okay, so in a access point, if we look at 802.11ac or Wi-Fi 5, that has the 256 QAM constellation. And what you're looking at right now, every dot represents zeros and ones, okay? And in order for you as a darter to hit exactly the spot that you want to hit, you need to be close to the access point. The biggest mistake that people make is putting their access point somewhere in the wiring closet, and they are trying to work from their office, and they actually have, again, choppy sound, dropped connections, because your access point, being your laptop, being the darter, tries to hit the dartboard, the access point. The way Wi-Fi works is if you try to throw that arrow and you miss, they actually make it simpler for you. They make the dartboard bigger. They go from 256 QAM to 64 QAM. The downside is that instead of throwing one arrow, you now have to throw 12 arrows. You know probably that while the darter is throwing its arrow, everyone around them need to be silent. Okay? Because if they miss, they have to throw now 12 arrows. And while you're trying to throw your 12 arrows, all the other clients around you need to be silent. That is also the issue that you probably face in the past when you were in a hotel and you were trying to connect to the Wi-Fi on the hotel. That was the problem. You were trying to hit that dartboard, and someone around you, one of the neighbors, someone in another room, couldn't hit that dartboard, so they actually had to take all the airtime and actually try to hit it again. And while they were trying to hit the dartboard, your client, your phone had to be silent. That is why you have such slow connection when you're in the hotel room. In Wi-Fi 6, we actually go from 256 QAM now to 1024 QAM, which dramatically improves the quality of those connections. So your dart that you're throwing is way more efficient. So you speed up that connection dramatically, and all the clients around it will benefit because you're throwing your arrows way faster. And the last thing that I want to highlight is target wake time. Target wake time, going back to our bar analogy, is like a numbering system. It is like you come into the butcher on a Saturday morning and you pull your number. And you are number 63. And you see on the board that it's number 52. If you see it's number 52 on the board and you're number 63, are you going to go stand in front of the bar and the butcher and say, hey, it's my turn, it's my turn? No, you're going to go stand in the back and you're going to wait, right? That's what we do with target wake time. You got your number and you can actually put your device to sleep until it's your turn. And the result of that is that you dramatically improve your battery time. And I don't know about you, but these are the three biggest fears of our generation. If I see any of those three icons, I get nervous. Slow Wi-Fi connection or bad Wi-Fi connection, long time to load, and the worst, this little red bar. I get nervous when I see that little red bar. And those are exactly the three problems that we're solving with Wi-Fi 6. And now you might be thinking, hold on. Everyone's talking about 5G. What is 5G? And should I go from Wi-Fi to 5G? Should I wait with Wi-Fi because 5G is coming? Going back to our bar analogy, this is 5G. 5G is large-scale outdoor deployments. By the way, mind the social distancing here. You see, everyone's on the right social distancing. 5G is the large outdoor deployment. Going back to our bar analogy. Is 5G competing with Wi-Fi 6? The answer is no. They are complementary. There is a market for both. There's a use case for both. And where Wi-Fi is predominantly for inside, 5G is predominantly for outside. Because when people talk about Wi-Fi or 5G, they talk about the very high speed. Well, in reality, yes, the very high speed for 5G actually exists. However, that is the 26 gigahertz band, which is a very high frequency. And the very high frequency, the good thing about very high frequency is it's a very high speed, very high data rate. The downside is it's very short distance and does not penetrate through walls. So 5G is great, but it's not a replacement for Wi-Fi. So there's a market for both 5G and Wi-Fi 6. So 5G requires a full nationwide coverage because you want to have 5G when you're outside and you want to have it everywhere. It requires licensing. So a service provider needs to own the license. And because of that, you are going to pay for the usage subscription. And the service providers want a large investment, so they want a large return. Basic economics. With Wi-Fi, you cover a building and you bought Wi-Fi 6, you bought the infrastructure, so you own it. It's unlicensed, so you don't have to do a bit on it. And think about how we evolved from work. We started as hunters. And after hunting, we decided, you know what, this is a very nice spot to start living. So we actually became farmers and we started to settle down and we started to become farmers there. And then we had the Industrial Revolution and we started to go to manufacturing environments and started to build stuff in that. And we go into cities and lived into cities. And then we became office clerks. Every morning we went to the office and we started working from the office. And then we became nomadic workers. We started working from Starbucks, right? That was our new office. And where we are today is we're working from home. And that is the new reality. Going back to, and I put this slide on the wrong spot, sorry for that. Going back to the 5G, these are the bands that we're looking at for 5G. So when they're talking about 5G, there's the low band, there's the mid band, and there's the high band. When they talk about the very high speeds of 5G, that is actually the 26 gigahertz band. And it really depends on where you live in the world when availability will be there. But it is going to be 2021 at the earliest that it's going to be there. So Wi-Fi 6 is here and now, and it's mainstream. So you see already in 2019, the first devices started being rolled out with Wi-Fi 6. The iPhones have it, and the infrastructure is ready for Wi-Fi 6. So you really see it happening right now. 5G absolutely has its market, has its business use cases, but it is further down the line. Yes, service providers are starting to roll out 5G networks. It's true. And what is that all about? That is that OFDMA technology that I talked about earlier, that is available in the 5G as well, because it was developed for 5G and we took it into Wi-Fi. So OFDMA, the one where we can have multiple clients being served at the same time, that is available in the 5G, and that is in your service provider networks. But when they talk about the very high speeds, that isn't there yet. It's going to be a few more years before that's going to be there. And then you might think, I have heard about another technology as well, Wi-Fi 6E. Yes, Wi-Fi 6E, and the E stands for enhanced. Going back to our bar analogy, Wi-Fi 6E, and you will see the first products coming to market next year. Wi-Fi 6E is an exclusive membership. We are again in this bar, and if you go to this bar, you will have your own bartender. He will know you by name. He will know what is your favorite drink. He knows what tapas you would like with your drink. He knows everything. He's gonna give you the best possible service you ever had. However, this requires a special radio. That means you need to have new access points and new clients to support Wi-Fi 6E. You cannot do backwards compatibility with Wi-Fi 6E. You cannot take your iPhone 11 Pro that you have today and bring it into a Wi-Fi 6E because it's a different frequency. You don't have this VIB exclusive card membership, so you cannot enter this club. You can only enter if you have that specific membership, if you have that radio. So 6E, it's there, it's real, it's awesome. It is the best possible experience that you're gonna have on the wireless network. However, it's dedicated and it requires a membership. All right, looking at the opportunity, what's in it for you? Why this and why now? Well, this is the new reality. Stay home and stay safe. It's all different now. And we did an investigation. We talked to our customers and we said, okay, where are you today? And again, we spoke to 1,600 people and 2% said it's on the go. 0% of everyone that we asked said we still all go to the office location. 98% said we're working from home. And then we said, okay, so how is tomorrow going to look like? And they said 5% is going on the go, 30% is going to go back into the office, and 65% is going to stay working from home. And we zoomed into that. They said, okay, tell me more. 58% said we expect to be working from home 8 or more days in a month. 98% said we expect that in future meetings we will have work from home participants, where in the past it was not supported. It was even frowned upon that you were working from home. It's new standard. It's fully accepted. However, 98% of the remote workers report frequent frustrations with video meetings, including poor audio quality, laptop fatigue, and concerns about background appearance. You heard my dog barking, right? And I can't do anything about it. I have 2 doors closed, but my dog is barking. I can't do anything about it. Right now, someone is pinging at me and you hear that message coming, ping, ping. I can't do anything about that. People are concerned about that. So these are frustrations that we've seen. And let's be honest, keep in mind, in a digital world, it's all about the experience. So what about us going back into the office? We would love to go to the office. I don't know about you, but like I said, I've been working from home since March and I miss it. I miss going to the office. I miss going to the coffee machine and talking to so-and-so and he and she and chit chat and how's this going and how did that project went and hey, do you have any advice, recommendations, and have you heard this rumor? We miss it. We want to go back to the office. And I think this is my take. This is not Cisco talking. This is me, Steven, talking. I think that the way it's going to look in the near future is you're going to book a slot into the office. So I want to go on Monday. I want to go to the office. So I'm going to book, and I want a room from 9 till 1. And when I arrive there, I will have a QR code on my phone. I come to the building, I scan my QR code, and that gives me access to the room that I booked. If I didn't book it up front, sorry, I can't enter the building. I think that is the way it's going to be. But thinking about returning to office, this is the feedback that our customers gave us. 97% want changes to make the work environment safer. What they really care about is the room clean? Did they clean the desk? When was the last time did it clean? I want to make sure that everything that I touch is safe. Knowing if a room is over capacity for social distancing, how many people can we have in the room without having issues? So as Cisco, this is our solution, the Cisco Business Resiliency. We have 2 offerings there. One, helping you to support your remote worker, helping your staff to work from home, to have decent connections without dropped network, without choppy sound, solving those pain points. And on the other hand, helping you to return to the office to make sure that everyone is safe. You can check if the network, if the services have been cleaned, if there's not too many people in the room or in the building or a certain area of the building. We even have a solution where we're connecting UV lights to the network, and you can actually do a UV scanning of the room with the light, cleaning the room before you enter the building. So we even have solutions like that to help you with that. So the learnings, what can you take back to the office? The key principles of a resilient enterprise architecture is there shouldn't be a compromise on employee safety, security, productivity, and experience. Customers and employees want the flexibility to shift and scale IT capacity, capability, and resources, and the ability to develop and automate new capabilities in an agile manner as the business need arises. So changing the network and the need whenever needed and when needed. How? This is the new way of working. A secure cloud-first infrastructure. The infrastructure is built around the cloud, helping you to work from anywhere, collaborate from any device, manage it from anywhere, and with that, maximize the experience and productivity. And it doesn't matter if you're in a temporary workplace, like this hotel room that I described, or like a temporary office set up on a certain location, or maybe even a temporary hospital that was set up in a parking garage. If it's a branch or campus office, if it's a remote worker, or if it's a device. And it doesn't matter if you're connecting to a data center, to the public cloud, to the hybrid cloud, or to a SaaS service. It should be the same experience everywhere. So, benefits for you to have a resilient enterprise architecture: adaptability, scalability, flexibility, and security. So with that, you can actually go to a building. You will see a screen over there informing you if there's if there's too many people in the building, or if it's safe to enter. And you don't have to measure this, you don't have to count this, you don't have to sign up. The network will do it for you. All you need to do is carry your phone with you. I'm pretty sure you're doing that right now, today. So there's never been a better time to update. We have demos available for you. We have white papers on how to do it. We have Meet the Engineer sessions. You can contact your account manager if you need any help on that. If you don't know who is your account manager, you can contact me. This is my email address. And if you want to know all about the solutions and how to help this, we created an ebook called Secure Remote Working. That's going to help you to understand that. With that, I am at the end of my session, so I would like to open up for questions.
Thank you so much, Stephen, for a wonderful, informative presentation. It's always nice to hear from you. We'll open the floor for the audience members. If you would like to ask your questions, go ahead and unmute yourself, and you can ask Stephen yourself. If, again, you would like to type it in, go ahead and type it in the chat box. For now, let me lead with the questions, Stephen. What, in your opinion, should be priorities for digital transformation today, given the COVID situation?
Sorry, I lost the first 2 seconds.
The question that we have here is, what, in your opinion, should be priorities for digital transformation today, given the COVID situation?
Yes. What should be priorities given the COVID situations? My priority to you would be, first, think about who is your customer, okay? And don't answer this question immediately. Think about your department with your team. Who is your customer? I'm not talking about your business, your company's customer, your customer. This could be it's another team. It could be it's another partner. It could be it's another vendor. Who is your customer? The second thing is, what are you servicing to your customer? It could be that it's thought leadership. It could be that it's data processing. It's something very specialistic. What is it that you're serving to your customer? And again, this can be another team in your company, because you're not end customer facing. You are actually creating a service for another team in your company. So what is that service? What can you do to optimize that service? And what can you digitize? And by going digital, you gain insights, you gain data knowledge on what's happening and how things are being used. Now, if you've defined who is your customer and what are you serving for those customers and what can you optimize, with those three, you can make a decision of where you should start to digitize. Is that helpful?
Thank you so much. Leading into another question upon what you said, how we should balance innovation and survival in the current situation?
Yes. So that's a tough one. That's a tough one, because innovation is what you need to survive in the long term. However, innovation costs money, and that doesn't bring you too much return in the short term. So you've seen companies that stopped investing in innovation are the ones that don't make it. Examples, Nokia, who missed the boat on the smartphone. Kodak, who actually is the inventor of the digital camera, but didn't want to bring it to market because they said there was no market for it. Stopping innovation is not a good thing. That is not a smart choice. So it comes back to my statement on the previous question. Who is your customer? What are you servicing for those customers? What can you optimize on those services? And can you innovate on those three? Is there anything that you can do smarter, faster, more intelligent? And by going digital, you actually get data insights on those three that we just described. And with those data insights, you can actually do innovations again and say, we need to do this faster, smarter, more intelligent, faster time to market. And as I said earlier in the presentation, the digital world, it's all about the experience. And if it's all about the experience, the time to value is the metric. And innovating is key. And if you can bring that in a time to value, if you can bring that to a value to your customer in a fairly short time, that is going to make you successful and actually make you go faster than your competitor.
Thank you. Great answer. Thank you so much for that. What are the 3 key success factors for companies deploying digital transformation?
What are the 3 key success factors for companies deploying digital? I think that question is too broad to give a good answer to. It comes down to the time to value. Taking your innovation, going digital is going to provide you actionable insights, and what can you do with those insights? Like I said, they're actionable. Just generating data doesn't tell you anything. If you have data, you need to put knowledge on top of it, and with the knowledge on top of the data, you get insights. And when you have insights, and then you can actually action on those insights, that's the key to success. So just having data is not going to give you anything. Knowledge is not going to have you anything. Knowledge on top of data, where you derive insights and making those insights actionable. That would be my answer to that question. But it really depends on your company. What is your business? What vertical are you in? I mean, the answer is going to be different for a restaurant than it is different for a transport organization, and it's different for a law firm. It really is different depending on your vertical.
Thank you, Stephen, for your answer. Another question here from one of the audience members: can I replicate the success of digital giants by following what they've done?
I always believe that. I know there's some people on the call that are from the Netherlands as well. So I'm going to say this in Dutch. Met copy-paste verdien je het meest. Which basically means with copy-paste, you make the most. It's always good to learn from the best practices from others and also learn from the mistakes from others. Yeah, absolutely. If you see successes from giants in the industry, and especially if they're in the same industry as you, because like I said, if you're a transportation company and you see success in a real estate development company, it's not necessary that success there would equal success in your business. But if you see someone in a similar or adjacent market and you see success there, yeah, absolutely. It's always good to learn from best practices and copy what's working. Yeah, met copy-paste verdien je het meest.
True, very true. Thank you. In your opinion, what do you think are some future technologies that will be able to drive digital transformation, in your opinion?
In my opinion, what are some technologies that will drive digital transformation? I see everything going wireless. I see everything getting data. As an example, my floor in my bathroom upstairs is telling me not only what is the temperature, but what is the humidity, what's the pressure, what's the air pressure. And that information is actually feeding back into my house system. And this is just my normal house. Though that's an example of how IoT, Internet of Things, is gonna bring data, and it is simple programming. If this, then that. And if this and this, then that. It's simple programming. By the way, that is also, and I know that many people on the call have kids. I would recommend everyone on the call start promoting your kids to learn to program, even if they're not going to be programmers, even if they're not going to be software developers. The programming mindset, the understanding of Boolean programming, if this, then that, and or not, that way of thinking is going to help you to be very successful. So to get back onto that question, all the devices, all the components that are now connecting to the network, to the internet, and generating data and information, and having an overlay software to connect that data and go from data to knowledge and insights and making that actionable, that is definitely where the growth is, where the opportunity is, and what's going to bring us forward.
Thank you. What are the pros and cons of implementing a digital transformation strategy? And what are those most common reasons for failure?
Okay. Pros and cons. This is a large question. Pros is getting actionable insights, getting more insights of what's happening in your network, in your customers, what's important to them, what's not important. Very simple example, having understanding of how well read is your website. What are the articles that people read? How much time do they spend to, and where do they don't spend time? Where do they move on? Where do they click on? What page do they forward? Why is that interesting for you? Because that tells you, it gives you insights on the success of your website, right? That's a simple example of how having actionable insights is going to help you to be successful. So that is definitely a pro. A con, some people and some organizations don't want to make a change. We've always done it work, and that is part of our success. This is what made us big. That way of thinking is I would say that's going to stop innovation, and that's going to stop you. And like I said, I started with a quote from Darwin. It's not the most intelligent of species that survives. It's not the smartest of species that survives. It is the one that is most adaptable to change that is going to survive. And that is exactly how you should think about your company as well. Are you adaptable to change? And if you're going to change, do you know where you should go change and how you should go change? So is there a con? You need to change, and change is uncomfortable. And a lot of people don't like that, like to be uncomfortable. That would be the con that I have in mind. What was the last part of the question?
And the last second part of the question was that what are the most common reasons for failure?
What are the most common reasons for failure? Not having enough data of where to go and how to make a change, or where to be successful. That is definitely one. So making the wrong decision, basically. Second, being stopped by your higher manager. Say, no, This is not the way we work. This is not what we're doing. We've always done it that way, and that made us successful. That would be my number two.
I completely agree with you, Stephen. We had a client that was mostly asking the question of why innovation? What can that bring me? And to find the connection there is that we basically were able to explain to them that to be able to move forward is to be able to be on top of these technologies and to be able to understand what are those tools that can drive us forward. Initially, it goes back to exactly what you said about how as parents we need to, even though they're not going into that specific field, to be able to implement these programs and tools. And I completely agree with you. It's to be able to stay on top in this driving technological driven world. We're moving towards a new generation and a new transition to remote work life, which may be, like you said, around for a very, very long amount of time. And we may not ever go back to a norm, and this may be our new norms. So I do agree with you, and I think that's a fantastic way to connect. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Moving on to the next question, what are the most important elements of digital transformation?
The most important elements of digital transformation. I would start two. Number one, your customer. Number two, your employees. Okay. So it's a human element in this case. Your number one customer, because if your customer is unhappy, he or she is going to go away and will not come back and is going to choose your competitor. And number two, your employees, because they are the ones that need to drive your success and be your face for your customer. So you need to have both of them on board. What is what your customer wants and why, and how can you do that? And if you make that change, if you make that organizational change or process change or service change or product change, is your customer going to stay with you and be more happy with you, or is that the reason why they would go away? And number two, your employees, do they like that way of working? Do they like that product, that service? Do they does it make them happy? As Marie Kondo said, does it spark a joy? That's always important to keep in mind, also in the employee. So even though we're going digital, doing business is still a human thing. It's humans buying from humans.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's so important to have that human interaction, no matter how much we've been moving forward into driving digital transformation. And we're moving towards, a lot of robotic system and voice recognition systems. We still see that need for that human connection, no matter what. It's still, like you mentioned, very, very important. The human to human interaction is still very important.
Yeah.
Uh, we
That's it. That's a great, the voice recognition. So I'm one of those people that when I make a phone call and I get into the queue where they give me an option 2 for this and option 3 for that, and option 5 is hold the line for the next servant. I'm that person that waits for a human to come onto the phone. Even though the other options are way faster, I just like to talk to a person. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but hey, that is me. That's what I do. I wait so I can talk to a person, and I actually choose companies where I can still talk to a person.
I think that's fabulous. Yeah, I completely, I'm also one of those people that, it's like press 1 for this, press 2, and I'm sitting there pressing 0 0 0 0 0 to just to be able to connect faster. So that's me also. Thank you. No, I do. I think the importance is here is that while still understanding the importance of digital transformation for companies and innovating, we still have to remember how important, like you mentioned, the biggest points and drives for innovation and digitalization is to not forget that the employee is the most important element. It's
Absolutely.
no matter what, is that we have to still keep that client relation, still keep it as a very, very big main priority.
Yeah.
Speaking of innovation, and we know that the importance of innovation and how to do innovation and what are those strong elements, but what, in your opinion, is the starting point? Where is the best place to start for digital transformation?
Where is the best point to start for digital transformation? I would always start with my customer in mind. That I know it's the answer that I've gave already 2 times before, but for me that is most important. Start with the customer, and what is it that the customer is looking for, and does the customer want to streamline its processes with us? Does the customer want to streamline their relationship with their customer? It comes down to what I said out earlier. Who is your customer to, or positioning or delivering or servicing to that customer, and what can you streamline about this? Those are, in my opinion, in that order, that's where you're gonna do it.
Thank you so much.
I would recommend everyone to I would recommend everyone to follow a process called design thinking. If you don't know what it is, go on YouTube and figure out design thinking. There's also a very nice one on TED Talks about design thinking. Do a design thinking workshop with your staff to figure out who's our customer, what is it that we're bringing to those customers, and how can we streamline that. Yes.
Thank you so much, Stephen. I know we had a couple of tough questions there back to back, but thank you. It was, your answers are wonderful, and we have many comments here coming from the audience members that they really appreciated your informative presentation. Do you mind putting up that link again for them if they would like to connect with you at a later time?
That's not a problem. Let me put this back here. Am I sharing? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. There you go. There's my email address. Mind that we don't have the S here, so it's Shanshu. So some people actually thought I was Chinese. Ah, Mr. Shanshu? No, it's actually the last S was forgotten when they registered my email address. That's where they find
All
me.
right. Thank you so much, Stephen. It was a great presentation. Thank you so much for your Q&A portion. And audience members, please feel free if you'd like to reach out to Stephen and connect via his email here. Thanks again, Stephen. I hope you have a wonderful, great day. And thank you so much for joining us.
With all pleasure. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Have a great day. Have a great weekend.
Thank you so much. All right, audience members, thank you so much for our joining in to our two presentations today. We had, as a wrap up today, if you remember, we have a morning session by Dell, by Mr. Rodrigo, and we had an afternoon session by Cisco here now that we finished with Stephen. We would like to now proceed to the wrap up session, in where I'd like to be able to hear from you and the audience to what you learned. What was one thing that you liked, or a takeaway, or something that you learned from today's presentation? I'm going to now break you up into rooms. You will have a fellow member participant that is also in the group as well. Please go ahead and collaborate with your partner and be able to kind of share your ideas. I will give you guys about 4.5 to 5 minutes to be able to collaborate and speak to one another. And then we'll regroup. I will also let you know how much time you have left, and then we can regroup and then hear from you guys your opinions about your takeaways for the day. You will be assigned into rooms, and you will see that very shortly. Please go ahead and add into your rooms, and go ahead and speak on your takeaways for the day, and then we will regroup again to be able to learn from what you take away today. I'll be giving you a few moments. Thank you. All right, everyone, welcome back to the main room. We are now regrouping for our for to hear what you learned for today, your takeaway, or even what you enjoyed the most. I'm going to be calling out a few names here that is on in the groups, and just please let me know what you learned for today. Maybe your favorite part of either presentation or something that you learned and it's really stuck to you. So I'm going to be calling out some names here. If you can please unmute yourself and let us know what you learned. The first person I'd like to call out, Abdul Rahman, can you please unmute yourself and let us know what you learned about today? Abdul, can you hear us? Let's move on to someone else. Maybe you're not muted. Silvio, can you unmute yourself and let us know what you learned about today in today's program and presentations?
Hi, it's a good evening on this side. Thank you very much for today's two presentations. I was just talking to Abdul on the breakout session that it is interesting these two topics because first of all the topic of data driven, which was one of the things mentioned on the first from the first speaker. It is interesting because I'm doing a course on product creation, product development, and one of the main things that it's mentioned on this course, it's about being data driven. So for me to hear about being data driven, having this mentality, it's very interesting. The second thing I found interesting on today's presentations, from the second presentation, is the future of work. The fact that we no longer have to go to the office. That right now, due to the situation that we live in, we have to learn, we have to adapt, we have to be flexible enough and do the job wherever we are. And I've been talking to a lot of friends, and I've been saying we've been working from home. I've been working from home for this all these past months, and nothing has changed. I'm still able to solve problems. I'm still able to negotiate deals. I'm still doing my job, and actually, there is a few disadvantages, but in general, it has more advantages for me. It has more advantages than disadvantages. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I am also right on that comment. But it's a new era and generation that we're moving towards, and like Stephen had mentioned in his Cisco presentation, before it was really frowned upon if someone would to take a day off and would go and go home and work from home. It was very rather than enjoyable, but was frowned upon. And
Yeah.
now we're moving into an era that now it's, hey, you have that same deck and your laptop, and you have access to those computers and monitors, and it's all just a difference of being able to connect via Zoom rather than face to face, or rather than going to a client's site. You just set up this Zoom meeting, and it's becoming the new norm. And like his percentages show in the survey, is that people still accept this or expect this to be going on for a further amount of time. And what's surprising is that most people, a majority, have adapted to it so quickly
Yes.
and enjoyed this, being able to not only have that work-life balance of being able to move everything forward work-wise, but being able to balance it at home as well. And it's thanks to all these digital technology and tools that are helping us be able to connect productivity from a digital point of not just office and being at the office, but being able to implement that at home. That's really amazing. I totally agree with you. Thank you so much, and thanks for giving us your insights of what you learned for today. Do we have one more volunteer to be able to let us know what they learned from today? How about Subarao? Can you unmute yourself and just let us know what you learned about today? I know I'm probably pronouncing this wrong, but it's Subarao Jayanti. Can you unmute yourself and let us know what you learned about today? I think your connection is it's not connected, but all right, we'll move on to one more person. How about let's go back to Rabel. Rabel, can you unmute yourself? I think we're having some technical glitches here. Maybe they cannot hear me. But I guess I can say something about what I learned about today. Hearing about our two presentations today really just confirmed to me what I've been thinking so far during this time of transformation and transitioning from work life to home life, is that it's about the work and the digitalization and what tools you have to be able to implement that same productivity that you do in the office and to be able to implement that at home. I believe that CRMs are very important. The platforms that we use are very important.
Yes.
To be able to keep up with these technologies and to be able to keep up with the things that we have, we're able to move forward and be able to not have that slump in between the time of this transition, if anything were to happen again. Like we're moving towards a new generation, and of course, being able to keep up on top of that only just drives us forward and is able for us to be able to connect with our clients at a better scale and be able to help us still continue to move forward. I would like to thank you all for joining today in our third day of our program. We do have a lineup set up for you for day 4, October 13th. We will again begin in the morning Pacific Standard Time. We will be having a live overview session from Silicon Valley Innovation Center about the future of workforce managing in the new environment. And this is basically about discovering the best practices of building a culture that promotes self-leaders who are productive, resilient, and creative. See what tools and practices can be used to promote the best in your workforce. And in the afternoon, we will have a session by Singularity, Higher Brain, and Cisco. This will be a panel discussion. The panel discussion will be about the future of work, digital workplace, remote teams. So connecting with these Silicon Valley companies that have mastered the challenges of operating a remote workforce, you'll be learning about the new approaches to monitoring productivity, increasing engagement, and deploying collaboration tools securely. We'll be discussing the best practices of running a successful digital workplace, including its metrics, flexibility, agility, and diversity. We will welcome you to join us again on day 4 on October 13th. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions, if you missed any portions, or if you just like a quick wrap up or connecting with us regarding any of the presentations. Again, we can also connect you with the presenters who have spoken for today. If you don't have any other further questions, I'll let you go. I know today is Friday, and I'm sure we have half of the team here from another time zone, so I'm sure you'd like to start your weekend. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Thank you and have a great weekend. Thank you for joining our program. Looking forward to having you guys joining again for day 4. Thanks again.
Thank you very much and have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. It was wonderful to hear everyone on the panel today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.